So tonight is the first night of our Woman of Drummer of the Week, and we just thought for chits and giggles and fun, during the next 10 weeks we would interview different women of drummer for you. And very, very conveniently for me, I happen to be in France with Lou Rossi.
I didn't know which one I'm waving to.
You just waved to everybody.
Hi.
And we're going to ask Lou a few questions, and then you're going to see every Sunday night for the next 9 weeks after this. Each of the title holders will be just picking somebody and interviewing them as well.
Cool.
Okay, Lou, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Okay, this is not a humiliation scene.
Right.
I promise you. I promise you. Tell us about your.
Right.
You're known as Lou. Is that a scene name? Is that the name at birth, or what's up?
Well, Lou, you'll find me online, Lou Leather Eagle. And Leather Eagle was a gifted leather name as I was coming up and earning my leathers and family. So in our family, in UK leather family, we will gift a leather name. So mine is Leather Eagle. You'll find me anywhere online there. But Lou is my name. So it's always been a family name. It's short for Louisa. That's my birth name. But even my parents always called me Lou, even from a child. And I choose to use that because it just is, I don't know, just gives that little bit of, for me, authenticity. There's lots of reasons why people don't use their name, and that's perfectly fine. But I like for people to be able to just call me, without too much fanciness. So it can be in anything, whether we're out at a club or you're just having dinner or something. People can use that name. So, and I'm fine with that. So I did have to be careful earlier on in my career because, for work and things, it's not always been so accepted that you use your own name, and also internet and all the rest of it for privacy. But I prefer to use my own name.
Great. I was teasing you this morning about being the International Woman of Drummer of Mystery, right? Here we're talking, and there's some British. You live in the UK, but you have a New York accent,
I know, right?
And you're Italian, and I'm so confused. Can you tell our audience why? If they notice New York, you are New York. But if they notice UK, you are UK.
Yeah. So I go home to the States, and people say, "Oh, you sound so British," and then I'll be here, and everyone's like, "Oh, you sound so you're from America somewhere," But yeah, so I came over in 2001, and actually met my two partners I was with for 20 plus years. We met on the internet when nobody met on the internet, and I came over for a visit in March of 2001, and I went home and packed bags and came and moved, and I started a whole new life here. We were together for 20 plus years. We've raised children, had a house, and did all the things that we used to like to say it was traditional in an untraditional way. And so that's why I'm here. And I've stayed, and people ask me, do you want to go back? And I have to say no. No, so this is my home.
Great. So here we are in France during Woman of Drummer European Regional, the first one. And thanks to you and Constance and meeting you and you guys coming over to Woman of Drummer this year, it could make this all possible this year and hopefully next, and then we'll see. So what initially brought you to be a part of Woman of Drummer, and why do you keep hanging out with Women of Drummer?
Well, I have to say, so the mainstream scene across the States. Well, also I've been out of the States for a long time, so it's not always easy to get there. But a lot of the way things have progressed, it's very commercialized. It's extremely organized, which is good, right? So there's all the goodness of a progressed scene, but I felt like some of it got lost. Some of the reasons why I came to leather and kink was to be free, and to be with people, like-minded people, and not be judged, and not be told I can do this or can't do that. And as the scene progressed and started to mature, there was quite a lot of, I guess, commercialization. So a little bit victim of its own success, right? So as people began, the out there people began to accept kink or being different, so the scene in the community became extremely structured and a little bit prescriptive. And I sort of fell out a little bit out of love for that. And when I found Women of Drummer, so my partner, Ms. J, I then had somebody else that was interested in the same sort of thing. And Women of Drummer was a bit of a reawakening for me, to be in a space where women could just be dykes. And someplace where you could just do what you wanted to do, and it didn't have to be with a particular dressed in a certain way or act in a certain way, and there was always somebody there that was into similar things, and I could just be free, and free to play, fuck, not talk about IT, because people do that as well, and at any point. But it's really the freedom of the spirit without, and I didn't feel the judgment or the prescription, and that for me is the most important. That's the most important thing for me, and that was the attraction for me.
Wow, the last night you were free. You were hanging from the what is it? Beams, right?
Yeah.
Which leads right into our next question. If you had to pick one thing, I know this is a buffet of possibility, but what is your favorite fetish, kink, or leather activity? If you had to pick something.
Well, I have to pick 1.5 things.
Oh, of course.
So,
of course.
My kink or my predilections, I reckon myself to a sexual sadist. And that's not in the I want everybody to be in pain. But it's a sexual sadism, so it's that sort of soft, dark pushing. And it's a together thing. And to be fair, I'm probably a sexual masochist as well. So, I like both sides of that. So that sort of intimate play is my favorite. It's dark and it's slow and it's ramps up and it's something that you do together. So 1 and 1 is exponentially more than 2. So that's the kind of play that I like. But activities, I love my whips. So that's probably one of my favorite things is the whip. It can be scary and sharp, but equally it can be sexy and intimate and close.
So tell me about the whip. How did you get into that? Because again, it's a buffet of possibilities.
It is.
Tell us your whip story. Where did your love of whip come from?
I couldn't even say. I don't know where the origin came from, but for 20 plus years, whips have been something that's attracted me. Probably one of my previous partners, DK, had gotten a whip, been gifted a whip, and I think it was helping to break that in. So taking it outside and breaking it in, for use and taking care of it, and I think that just did it for me. So that probably is where it tipped it over for me. So I was, as soon as it came, I was like, I could do that. I'll break it in, and I think that was it. And it's just it's the precision of it, and that it can be both sharp and soft, and you can do anything with it. So it's versatile. It takes patience and focus. So
and skill.
And skill, yes, and skill. Yeah. I remember the first way to practice is, so we had dogs, and we'd take like clothespins and I just put them around with dog treats on them, which was also helpful for getting the dogs used to playing in the house, right? So if they was playing in the house, you didn't have to like put them in another room or segregate them. They would just go off and go to sleep. But we'd put them all over and then just take the dog treats out of the clothespin and pop them out with the whip. So and practice, so you get that precision, and the dogs get a treat and they get used to it. So it's just multi-purpose.
Wow, I never heard that before. That's great. So here's another really hard question. All right,
I'm ready.
You went to Woman a Drummer for the first time last year.
Yeah.
Okay. And there were all these scenes and all these people playing, and you were playing. Whether it was yourself or someone else and you watched a scene, what was your favorite and why?
Oh, my favorite activity was the Texas fisting party. I just thought that was like the best thing, because it was a collective thing, right? So the energy was really ramped up, and the barn was filled with all kinds of people. There were people watching, there were people in activity. Of course, I had to get into the activity, but everybody was there. There were people on the stage being fisted while they were both being fisted and having a conversation, which I thought was brilliant, right? There was people there that were double fisting, and there was. You had the experience, and people would get hankies. It gave people an opportunity to earn a hanky. I just thought it was brilliant that you could, get so you were doing what you were doing, and if you needed some loops, somebody would come over, and they had water-based or silicone, and you can get some help, and they get right in there, and you didn't have to stop. But
they're very hospitable.
Very
people
hospitable.
From Texas.
I thought that was. I thought that was like the best thing. I've told the story many times since then, but everybody playing together, and it wasn't. It was really open. It was really community. It was, and everybody had a good story to tell, and a
all
good
genders,
laugh. All genders, all
sexualities.
genders, all sexualities. Everybody played together, and it wasn't. And it was just. I don't know if you can call it wholesome, but it felt wholesome to me, right? It felt wholesome because it was really in the spirit of what we're all doing and playing together. Particularly, like you said, people of all kinds. It wasn't a isolated, these people play here or this or that. You didn't have to pick anything. You could just be in with everyone. And that was really it. And the energy was spectacular. Yeah.
Wow. This is only a 15-minute interview. We could talk for hours and hours, and there's so many stories. And I can't wait to interview you again. We have one last question.
Right, okay.
Now, we've sat all weekend in France with Jeb and Constance, and Lipstick, and some others, and we've told stories and bonded. Would you tell the Woman of Drummer worldwide audience something we don't know about you? I always hate that question.
I know that does take a minute. Something you don't know. I know it's hard to say because I talk a lot, so I'm quite happy to tell all the things.
But not everyone got a chance to meet you because they were being fisted and they needed to recover.
Gosh, I don't. You can narrow it down.
How about something we know that you're from New York.
Right.
We know that you came to the UK. We know that you love the UK. Right? Where is your favorite place to be? Some might know this.
Oh, right.
But I'm thinking there's two places I know of that you love to be.
Yes, yeah. So, if I had to go, one of my favorite places to be is in the southern part of Sicily, and in a really small village called Agnogne Bagni. And the best thing about it is that it's right on the beach and there's nothing there. So there's one hotel. It's a hotel, pizzeria, coffee place, beach restaurant. It's everything. The place is everything and nothing. And when you go there, it's as I say, you're right on the beach. It's not even a kilometer long, and the only people that are really there are the people that live there. And there's just the stuff across the front is some B&Bs, but it's beautiful. It's peaceful. and it's also a place where you can do whatever you want because nobody cares. Sicilians don't care. Nobody cares.
But there's another place.
There is another
where
place.
Your heart is.
A place in Ottawa, well, not in Ottawa, in wider Ontario. It's probably right. I'll get killed for getting it wrong. But a place called Deep River, which I've come to know and to love, I enjoy being there. And Ms. J is there, and it's really come to feel like another home for me. And so I never thought, coming from the city, I never thought I would really want to be out in rural place. I was even surprised when I came to the UK and to the most beautiful place in the East Midlands with lots of hills and dales and sheep, and I just thought, I'm from New York, and I'm like, sheep? What do you do with them besides eat them? So but the beautiful meadows, and I love walking in England, in that part of England, but also now in Deep River it's extremely rural. But when you put your feet on the floor, you just feel something. And she's, and Miss J is there, and I love to be there. And it's, for the first time this past year, she said, we're going to sleep outside tonight. And I'm like, I don't think so. It's -6. I'm like, no, I'm from the Mediterranean. I'm Italian. I don't sleep outside. No, we're going to sleep outside. I'm like, all right. And out we went. And mattress out on the front porch, screened-in porch, electric blanket, and it's an amazing feeling to just look up and you see the sky and you're warm. And it's just revitalizing. So yes, and I know it doesn't sound terribly horny, but it actually is. It actually is.
Good. Well, thank you so much for just talking a little bit.
Yeah.
As we could talk forever. For those watching, we have interview every single week with somebody, and just 15 minutes because we know our attention spans are a little short. But if someone wanted to follow up and say hi to you because they just thought you were cool,
yes,
where would they get a hold of you?
Facebook, Lou Rossi, that's my name, and you can have it. Fet Life, Lou Leather Eagle, and Leather Eagle anywhere, really, you can find me.
And I probably have not met a more friendly, open person to talk to. New people, old people, young people. I'm
all about the love, baby. Yeah. So, sharing is caring. Come on.